Since I reviewed Army Men Air Combat a few weeks ago, I've been on a bit of a nostalgia trip, thinking back to all the cool toys we used to have when I was a kid. It's no surprise that many kids' toys have tried to make the jump into video games to catch kids moving into video games perhaps for the first time. It got me thinking back to Hot Wheels, the classic toy which no doubt many of you listening across the world will have owned bucket loads of in your childhood. The licensed hogs at EA quickly snapped up the rights to publish Hot Wheels Turbo Racing by Stormfront Studios, which was released in North America in late 1999. We all remember building tracks and letting our cars do loop-the-loops and various other stunts with the real thing, so the premise for a great version of this video game was one which I was looking forward to checking out. The game features more than 40 of the real-life Hot Wheels cars, including many of your favourites like Red Baron and Mongoose, and there are also 8 of the classic Hot Wheels stunt tracks to race over. There are 3 ways to win every race, so if you prefer pure racing, pulling off stunts or attacking and destroying your opponents, the game has you covered. Add to this a whole ton of shortcuts, hidden cars to unlock and power-ups to spice up the gameplay, and everything is lined up to make this a must-own title. It's clear when you play the game for the first time that it's taken inspiration from some of the best racers on the console. There's the power-ups to add some tactical elements to the game like in Mario Kart. There are cool shortcuts like Beetle Adventure Racing. And on the other hand, you also have the handling and arcade-like gameplay of the Rush series. Now when you combine these together with a total disregard for realism, and the game quickly turns into a very fun and enjoyable racer. This is shown even further by the fact that when your car is in the air, you still have full control over its movement, which makes pulling off some amazing flips and tricks a breeze. This freedom, however, can be somewhat of a drawback. You see, it will take time and practice on each of the courses to establish the best method of winning. Some tracks are more suited to pure driving to hit the fastest lap times. Other courses have so many lips for you to jump off and pull off huge tricks, you'll need to master your car's movement and landing in these epic stunts in order to win by points. There are also tracks which are set up beautifully to flip over and destroy your opponents. With so many ways of winning, you can get lost at times deciding on the best way for you to win the race. This also causes problems in the multiplayer mode. Whilst there is surprisingly only support for up to 2 players, when playing with a friend, unless you're both going for the same win strategy, then it makes the races quite irrelevant. Despite the lack of support for 4 players, the 2-player mode runs at a fantastic frame rate, and there are only minor differences in the quality of textures. I can't see why they didn't implement expansion pack support, which would have stabilised the game if they had added 4 players. But whilst I wouldn't have recommended this game for multiplayer, the single player mode is such a blast to play. Now whilst we're on the subject of graphics, I think Stormfront did an awesome job translating the plastic feel of the toys into the game. Everything is super bright and colourful, and the tracks have been translated fantastically into the game. Whilst the level of detail and texture quality is by no means the best seen on the console, everything looks and feels well suited to the game, and the very blocky polygon look everything has kind of works. But for gamers more accustomed to some of the grungier looking, more serious N64 racers, then they may not care for the overall look of the game all that much. But look closely and you can see that there are some higher quality texture backgrounds in the game, which adds an unusual mix when compared to the lower quality foreground and tracks. I can't think of many racing games that take this approach, but to be honest, you won't spend all that much time because your eyes will be glued on the track looking for shortcuts and areas for your car to stunt off. Now I'm a sucker for a great soundtrack, and in many reviews I do focus quite a lot on how things sound, but in Hot Wheels Turbo Racing, nothing could have prepared me for what I was about to hear. With the Hot Wheels license, I was expecting something quite kid-friendly, and with the influence of the game being some cute N64 racers, I was thinking something along the lines of a very MIDI-based soundtrack with some catchy tunes. Giving the game a listen, and you'll realise that the soundtrack too has been licensed, and includes artists such as Mixmaster Mike, Primus, and Reverend Horton Heat. I wouldn't have expected that in a million years, but you know what, it kind of works, and if everything, the surprise factor alone makes this one of the more unique and unexpected soundtracks on the console. Add to this some generic but suitable effects for crashes and engines, and an announcer who does the usual over the top statements when you land cool tricks, and you have a game which sounds as unusual as much as it looks. Very much like Beetle Adventure Racing, this game came out of nowhere with a great license, and once again EA delivered. It's by no means a perfect racing game, and the lack of 4-player mode holds it back a little, but anyone who's looking for a blast with an unusual racing game should definitely check this one out. But what do you make of Hot Wheels Turbo Racing? I never got to play this as a kid because it was a North American exclusive, but having played it now, I know that I would have loved it back in my childhood. Perhaps you rented this, not sure if you should buy it, as generally licensed games do tend to suck. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time.